We begin today chapter 17, and in the conclusion of this chapter will be actually the conclusion of a part of Tanya that is teaching us about the Beinani and ourselves, who we are Beinani in training, that intermediate individual, just middle of the road, who has complete mastery over thought, speech, and action, but who's able to use their mind to have dominion over the heart, able to see everything in a manner of connect or disconnect, ultimately. So what we learned in the previous chapter, the chiddush, the novelty there, was that the human condition is that we have, as opposed to the animal, on all fours, and the mind, the heart, and the body are all equal, so to speak. We have a mind. That's what it means to be upright. We have a mind. It can lead to the heart. It can lead to action. In other words, when we understand something in our mind, it can lead to our heart to having feelings, appropriate feelings in the heart, that leads us then to act upon. That's a human condition. So towards God, that you have an understanding of your relationship with God. You have an understanding of God within creation, God beyond creation. You have understanding of the will of God in His 613 commandments. You have an understanding of that. That leads you to a feeling in your heart. Like many of you have an understanding of Tanya sufficiently now that you lead something to your heart, a feeling, a real love, a sense of awe to the teachings, or even more so towards God. Now, not always can we have those feelings. Not always are we capable of the feelings. But we're capable of what we spoke about yesterday, to have an intellectual love and an understanding heart. Intellect, what has it got to do with emotion? What has heart got to do with intelligence? Well, since one brings the other, since one gives birth to the other, intelligence gives birth to emotions. So that means in intelligence, there has to be, the child that's being given birth to has to be from within. So there is an emotional aspect in intelligence, and therefore, that which you give birth to has to have the part of the parent or the mother that gives birth to it. And that means there's intelligence in emotions. And we spoke about that at length yesterday. So with this, says the Alter Rebbe, we can now understand in the title page, we have one verse from the entire Torah that these 53 chapters are based on. And that verse from Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 30, verse 14, says, Ki korve lecha hadavar ma'ed, for this thing is very near to you, beficha, in your mouth, v'vavcha, in your heart, la'asosei, that you may do it. So what is the Torah speaking about over here? What's close to you? What's, easy for you? What's near to you? Is the three garments of the soul, thought, speech, and action. Well, the first thing is beficha, in your mouth, meaning speech, of course. Bilvavcha has a double meaning to it. In the reference over here, it means thought. After all, what do you think about? That which you have strong feelings about. Things you have no feelings about, you'll not think about it. Right? Sometimes you can't go to sleep at night. How come? Because your mind is racing with thoughts. Well, where are those thoughts coming from? Well, feelings in the heart that you have. So here it means, on one level, it means thoughts. In your mouth, in your heart, then to do. Action. So there we have thought, speech, and action. Now, on a deeper sense, the word bilvavcha means emotions. I mean, the word means, and your heart means the emotions, of course, right? But in a deeper sense, it means your emotions. In other words, it's very easy within our grasp to have a sense of awe and love towards God. Okay, so that's the verse. And again, that's in the title page. And with this chapter, we're going to bring to a culmination everything that we've been speaking about till now. So the question the Alter Rebbe says, seemingly, bilvavcha, in your heart, is neged achush elanu, that it seems to be contrary to our experience. In other words, it's not a simple task to have love and awe of God. That seems to be maybe contrary to what we experience in life. And since Torah is eternal, therefore, this can't be understood merely, in Moses and Moses' generation, that's what the reference is. No. Torah is a guidebook for me today, for you today, and therefore it must be talking to me. So this thing doesn't seem to be very near that my heart, I can change. I have worldly desires. I have, personal desires in my heart, urges in the heart that I can change. So how can I have a sincere love of God if I have, this duality within me? And furthermore, we even see that the Talmud says, based on another verse in the Torah, that Moses says, what does God ask of you but to fear him? And the Talmud asks a question. Fear of heaven, of God? Is that a small matter? Is that so simple? Asks the Talmud. And all the more so love, to have fear of God is probably easier than to maybe have the love of God, perhaps. I mean, on some level, yes. In any case, only the righteous have the control of the heart that really have a love of God. So what's the verse coming to say? That it's so near to me, that it's so, within my reach. So Alter Rebbe explains that the words lasoise, to do, right, refers, or rather the love that we're talking about is in a reference to that brings you to action. So let's explain. Let's take apart these words. In your mouth, b'ficha, bilvavcha, in your heart, and here we're talking heart feelings, right? Lasoise, to do. So the order seems to be a little incongruent. Either it should go from below above, action, action, speech, thought, or it should come from above meaning thought first, then comes speech, and then comes action. But here, speech is first. And then your heart and your thoughts come second. And then action third. So it's not in a proper order. Thought, speech, action, or action, speech, thought. But here it's speech first. The middle one is coming first. So the Alter Rebbe explains, because if you're a little more careful and you look at the words, it says, it doesn't say in your heart, and thoughts and action. There's not a word and there in the verse. And action. It's in your heart to do. So that's why the double meaning over here. In your heart, meaning thought, but also means feelings of love and awe. So, but it says feelings to do. heart to do. In other words, we're speaking here merely of a love and awe of God that will bring you to action. Right? Meaning the hidden desire of the heart, even if it doesn't burn openly with a fiery passion for God, right? But it's part of the soul's connection to God that's in the heart. Well, that's near to us. How so? Because that's the soul that's in my mind, my brain, and that therefore gives the capacity of my mind having control over my heart. That I can think what I want to think, I can talk what I want to talk, and I can do what I want to do in any area. So therefore, I can contemplate the greatness of God and my relationship with God, and that will generate at least a love of God and an awe of God that at least brings me merely to act accordingly towards Him. In other words, to do another mitzvah, to study Torah, as we're doing right now. Okay. So, is life a walk in the park? Can we overcome our pettiness? Can we sweat the small stuff? And perhaps maybe even the big stuff? Well, Tanya says that we actually can. Actually, even the Torah says that we can. As the verse says, Ki karvei lecha, it's close to you. It's not difficult. What's not difficult? That you can have a closeness to God in your expression of thought, speech, and action, of the soul's expression. That is something that we can truly have close to us. What does that mean? So experience seems to show us the opposite. That we don't have we don't have a true love and awe towards God. We love other things, right? We're pulled in two directions. We know that there's something greater than the urges of my heart, a relationship with God, and pulled in these two directions. So the question is, what's the most important thing? Having peace with that? Or recognizing that that's the struggle that I'm going to have, and what I got to do is just be mindful enough that it will bring to my heart a sense of a knowing heart that will bring me to act accordingly what God needs from me. So in that respect, life can be a walk in the park. If we're looking for the peace of mind, so that's what meditation of the world is. Meditation is rid yourself of all extraneous thoughts and empty your mind. Empty your mind. Judaism comes and says, no. Fill your mind. Because it's not about trying to get to a place of nirvana, place of peace. What is it? It's recognizing, yes, there's a struggle over here, but I can still have a walk in the park. How? Fill my mind. Fill my mind with more Torah learning. Fill my mind with more an understanding and appreciation of God in my life. distill it to such a way that it seeps into my heart, that I have a knowing heart. And that understanding heart that I have is going to bring me to do what you got to do. And the walk in the park is ultimately just do it. Just do what you got to do in life. That can be, as Tanya is teaching us, something that we can accomplish. It's close. It's near. It's not distant from us. And I think we all experience that on some level at times. And the more we engage and the more we focus, the more we see how real this is. So, interesting, by the way, we're starting a new JLI course, February the 3rd. You need to sign up for it. There's a cost to it. There's a book that you get, but and it's about meditation from Sinai. It's exactly what the discussion we're having over here. Will be a 6-week course. Please go and find out more information about that. Right now, Chabad Zichron, it'll also be on Tanya Rabbi shortly. The websites. In any case, if we're ready to accept the struggle and not seek merely peace, right? Why do we want peace? You know why? Because it makes us feel good. But if we accept the struggle, right, then in the struggle I can still have a walk in the park. I can still overcome and deal with whatever I got to deal with. Not only sweat the small stuff, but even the big stuff. Even the big stuff will be able to. Why? Because I'm mindful. And this is the point over here that was so crucial, is the mindfulness that we have that can lead and seep into our heart. You know, because we learn and learn and learn day in, day out, it's seeping into our heart. And it's giving us an understanding heart that I'm sure it's reflecting in a changed behavior in our relationships, human relationships, and our relationship with God. And one way to tell, and this is important for us to be able to look back compared to last month or 6 months or a year ago, am I improving in my mitzvahs? Am I improving in my connection to God? Am I improving in my human relationships? Then we know that it is close to us. It is a walk in the park because we're improving. Now, it's not about being perfect. That's the righteous, the tzaddik. But the walk in the park over here is that it's close to us, that we're growing, we're achieving. That, we don't sweat the small stuff. And even the big stuff we're handling very differently. How come? Because we're mindful, because we learn Tanya. And it affects us, or we learn Torah in general, but here. And it affects us, meaning it's seeping into our heart. Yeah, it's not with the full-blown palpable feelings of awe and the majesty of God and his wisdom in the Torah. But it's an understanding heart. And the crucial thing is that from the heart, it brings you to do. From the heart, and what is the notion of the heart over here? That brings me to action. Meaning, I do another mitzvah. Not only do another mitzvah, if I do the mitzvah already, I do it better now. I've always given charity, I give. Now, more charity, I give it. More gladness of heart. I've been learning Tanya till now. I focus even better and learn it better, and I apply it better. That's what we need to see, right? I pray, put on my tefillin. I'm doing that with greater vigor. Why? Because it's near, it's close. We have competing urges in the heart that pull me in a different direction. Fine. If the point is that I should be at peace, which is just about me feeling okay and feeling comfortable, that's really what it means. Well, that's living in your comfort zone, and that's very self-directed. But if it's accepting that it is about the struggling within my urges in my heart and not allowing it to control me or to overtake me. One less time today than yesterday. Wow, amazing. And this method that we're learning, that we're talking about over here, is the mindfulness, the power of the mind that can bring to the heart. Again, amazing if it can bring palpable love and awe of learning Tanya, of doing a mitzvah, of your connection to God. It's okay if it doesn't. That's okay. That's what we're talking about over here. Okay, questions, comments, thoughts, conversation. Let me see on Facebook if I have any questions. Erica, doesn't the mind bring up and stir the emotions in the heart to bring about action? Exactly what we just said. Yes. Very true. Very true. How do we overcome our thoughts that justify or reason away our negative actions? How? You have to want to. You have to know that it's wrong. And if it's wrong, that it disconnects you from Hashem in the moment. Not forever disconnected because you had a bad thought, right? In the moment, you're disconnected. And you don't want to be disconnected. Think about it for a second. You have a spouse, you have a parent, you have a child, right? Now think about that relationship. Do you want for a single solitary moment that you should be disconnected from them? That there should be negative feelings between each other? Now, it happens. These things happen. That's not my question. My question is that what you want? No. You want for a moment that there should be a disconnect. Well, same things with God. Or actually, it starts there. Right? So John is asking, good question, is this for the Russia also? Well, Beinoni in training, yeah, that's what we're learning. Again, the Beinoni is going to be, impeccable in this. We, today, hopefully, will be one time more successful than we were yesterday. So we're growing, we're better, and therefore, it's also for the Russia. It's for everybody. After all, Torah is, it's talking to everyone, right? Torah is not only talking to the righteous or to the Beinoni, it's talking to all of us. Absolutely. Yeah. Good question. Robert, peace. We're talking about peace from within. That's what we're talking about. Not about war with other nations. You're right about that. If there are no palpable feelings, asks Vicky, a very good question. How do we know that we're connected? The only way to know connected is if it's changing your behavior. And that's why in your heart to do. Not in your heart and do, but in your heart to do. So that your heart is bringing you to action. The feelings in the heart, as limited as they may be, if it brought you to act with thought, speech, and action towards God in a better way, a more connected way, again, in the garments of self-expression, then you know that that feeling in the heart was coming from a good place. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vicky. Lori, the struggle is so exhausting for me. Ever since the unexpected death of my husband. Ooh, is this my animal soul resisting growth? Oh, first of all, my condolences. And I don't want to speak to you, Lori, about your personal, and struggle, especially losing, a spouse, losing your husband, and how difficult that must be. So, I don't want to. But I guess Hashem has given you the power that you can deal with this and overcome. That's all I can say. There's no doubt that Hashem has given you the capacity to deal with this, as painful as it might be. So I think that again, and thank you for your question, Lori, and your vulnerability. Powerful. The fact that it's exhausting means it's a struggle. That's the struggle, recognizing that. But if there's a refocus, and we take what we're learning here in Tanya and we live with it, I think it'll help tremendously. It'll help tremendously. Pain doesn't mean the pain goes away. If there's a struggle, in struggle there's going to be pain. But pain is growth. So the pain isn't a problem. See, that's the problem is we're looking for peace, and maybe this is the where the paradigm shift needs to be had. Don't look for the peace. Don't look for it to be feeling complete and whole. That's very self-directed. It's all about me. Look in that I have a struggle, but in that struggle, it can be a walk in the park, in the sense that the pain is there. Remember, the righteous, they're able to transform their heart, and they don't, the heart isn't going to come up with its pain. It's coming from wherever it's coming from. I mean, there will be pain in the righteous also. Shouldn't say that. But, Beinoni training means we have the urges in the heart. We have the feelings in the heart, whether it's coming from a good place, not a good place. On some level it's from a good place. On some level it's not. If it's holding you back from doing what you got to do, then that's a problem. Just doing it, doing the mitzvah. Let me tell you a story. Elie Wiesel was in camps. He was a teenage boy who studied Talmud and was a, scholarly Well, I don't know if he was scholarly. He was young, 15, 16 or something. And he was studying in the camps, Talmud, with one of the, leading figures of his community in Sigit. And they actually studied together. He was probably a scholar, the rabbi, and knew it by heart, and they were studying. Couldn't have books, obviously. So one day he tells him, "Come tonight to this barrack at this hour." He comes. Says there was his teacher and two other rabbis, and they were making a court case against God. Famous in the book Night. And they were making a court case, taking God on trial for the for the deeds, because everything comes from God, against the Jewish people, all of humanity, for the atrocities. And they went back and forth, discussing it in Talmudic principles and teachings. And finally, they made a psak halacha. God's guilty. He's guilty. Now, I don't want to get into the whole, story about how can they do this and whatever. No, that's not the point here. Right after that, they finished. They turned around and says, "Okay, let's daven Mariv. Let's pray to God." What does it mean? So they make a halachic rendering, and obviously in their heart there's whatever, pain of what they're going through, or what eventually 6 million Jews that, by the way, 6 million was the ones that were killed, but the ones that survived, boy, what they had to go through in their lives, right? So, and then the rest of humanity. So imagine the pain they have in their heart. What did they do right afterwards, though? They just did what a Jew has to do. It was nighttime. They had to pray. They prayed. I don't think with any less vigor, less passion, and less, love and awe of God, that because of the ruling. No. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of, the whole story. The point I'm bringing out over here. They had a lot of pain in their heart personally, what they were going through, and collectively, if they're making a judgment, of a Jewish court, of the atrocities that have happened to the Jewish people and all of humanity, and God is responsible ultimately because everything comes from God, and yet, with all of that pain, they did what they got to do. The next mitzvah at hand. That's powerful. Thank you, Lori, for expressing. I hope that helps you. And I don't mean to belittle your loss. God forbid. Not at all. And no one should know of it. Not before 120, literally, or Mashiach now. That's very powerful. Denise, so when we're studying Torah and come upon the truth, I actually felt something inside ignite. Is this not a palpable feeling of connection? Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking that it is, and I'm not here to say it is or it isn't, because I'm not here to make that judgment. That's not, I'm not here to sit in judgment. Not at least in this arena. In my sessions one-on-one, so then I do those kind of things, but not, not like this. Okay. Clubhouse. Some of you managed to stay on and to be here for the whole thing. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts? see on Instagram. Reminder, 1 o'clock Rambam. Again, I want to tell you about the JLI. Go to JLI Montreal. If you want to come to my course, you have another Chabad rabbi that you're going to, by all means, please. Meditation from Sinai. Again, starting, it does cost $100 Canadian, which is about 80 American. It includes a textbook that gets shipped to you. But it's going to be a phenomenal course that you definitely don't want to miss. Furthermore, Yud Shvat is coming next week, 10th of Shvat, when the previous Rebbe passed away in 1950, and our dear Rebbe took over the leadership. So I'm going to make a Fabringen. Maybe we'll make it in all 3 platforms and go over the Rebbe's Hasidic discourse. Be something interesting and fascinating. I'll keep you posted on that. It'll be the beginning of next week. Wednesday is Yud Shvat. All right, so I think we're good. I think. Okay. A reminder for those that we don't have your email, please go to Tanya Rabbi and put it in there. Okay. Yeah, actually, good idea. I think the Fabringen is going to be on Zoom, and then it will be played on, I think we're going to do it on Zoom, so it's more personal. This is great, but there's something about Zoom. We can see some faces, or we can see your blank, your video off. Anyways, yeah, I think we'll do. All right, folks, I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.